The show here on this Tuesday. Ox Foundation Solutions bringing you the show this hour, oxstrong.com. I'll give you that again toward the end of this commercial, oxstrong.com. These are my folks to come out and help you with anything that's going on underneath your house. And everybody's got a different sitch. Some houses are older than others. Some are crawl spaces. Some are slabs. Some are basements, poured walls, concrete block. All of them can shift, especially with these extreme weather conditions, the summer drought last year, now the extreme cold, expansion and contraction, water intrusion, all of those things are factors. And you got to maintain your home. Everything's riding on the foundation. So if you suspect anything, you start to see any kind of shifts or cracks or anything that looks squirrely, get them on over there and don't let it fester and don't try to guess at it. You're not going to just be able to search that. And most of us don't have the tools to fix it. Let the pros do it at Ox, because they do all the services from leveling your house to fixing those shifts and cracks, water removal if there's been an intrusion. From there, sometimes you can wind up with mold. They do mold remediation. A lot of times we're dealing with that in the summer months when it's warmer and more humid. And then, of course, one of the final steps, if you've got all these problems, and one can lead to another, is you wind up with encapsulation. If you got a crawl space, you need encapsulation. It is both a moisture barrier and a thermal barrier. It does both. It keeps the moisture out, and in this time of the year, keeps that cold air out from under the house. It is just that kind of weather, and we've got a couple of weeks of it. I'm about to walk through some of the weather forecasting. If you're starting to see any kind of trouble with your foundation, I completely trust Ox to come take a look at it. These folks are just the best. Total pros with the latest technology. It is oxstrong.com. Easy enough to remember, oxstrong.com. All right, so let's do what we've been doing as we've gone through the afternoon and start with weather, because it's the talk everywhere. Now, we're lucky. We shouldn't be complaining. We didn't get hit with an ice storm. And today I've watched repeated news conferences from governors in Mississippi, Tennessee, in Kentucky today, all doing updates on their emergency response with those ice tree breakages and power outages and everything that's happening to them. And it's becoming dire for some folks that are stuck in this deep freeze. Same thing with the airport cancellations. A lot of the country is still trying to dig out. At most, we've been a little bit inconvenienced if you're trying to get a shipment, or maybe you've got a flight, some delays like that. And then here comes the next big system. And so what are they thinking about that right now as we look at the maps this afternoon? Again, we're a couple of weeks out. Let's just talk about the temperature overall. We're going to be below freezing almost every night, I think, for the next 2 weeks. There might be one or two nights where the long-range maps are showing us just a little above, but super cold for days and days and days as we crawl into February. And then this bigger system that's out there for this weekend, for example, last night, I don't know what it was at your house, but I think it was about 14 or 15 at my house this morning. And so we get a lot of chill hours. We're getting a lot of hours on the clock below freezing and not as many hours above freezing. And so over time, that's when that ice buildup and all that stuff on your plumbing starts to have an effect. So even though we escaped the ice storm and our temperatures aren't as bad as other parts of the country, I think this audience and most everybody that can hear us right now are very vulnerable to plumbing situations. And that can come in a variety of ways. If you've ever lived through it, you know what I'm talking about over the next 2 weeks. So, my advice, people are like, well, what do you do? Go ahead and no matter how insulated your home is, and I went through some of this at the beginning of the show, our house is really well built and well insulated from the original family that built it. But still, I'm going to run and let faucets drip on a couple of those nights just to make sure that pressure is off the system. And maybe you wash clothes during the day and you do some things and your water's flowing. Anything you can move out of your service pipes during the day sort of resets all that every night when it does get cold. So keep the water moving. Have a shutoff valve. Know where your valve is. Sometimes people just never do that. And those things can get caked in mud, but know how to get the top off, how to get the mud off, how to find the exact spot where you've got to turn the water off. It's just like a faucet to your house. You just turn it. Figure out which direction to turn it. Just think that through ahead of time. And those little shut-off valves are very cheap. And sometimes you can use some vice grips or something if you're handy and you got tools around. But I would have that in a backup. It does come in handy. I've told the story over and over again. Years ago, I had a pipe break. I was on the air with AJ, and one of my sons who was off at college but just happened to come out of the house was there when it happened, heard the noise. But I'd never told him where the shutoff was or but I knew exactly where my shutoff tool was, exactly how to get him to the road. And he got out there and turned everything off, and really probably saved my whole basement, because I think there would have been just probably hundreds or thousands of gallons of water in the basement before I got home. Now, that was another well-built insulated house, but we had this one wall that had a pipe on the outside wall, and that wall never got sunshine. The way the sun came up and went down, that was just a vulnerable wall, and I didn't even know there was a pipe in it. Actually, it ran to a hose bib outside, and the cold will kind of wick, and just through conduction, it'll wick just like heat moves and transfers, kind of transferred into the wall without any hours above freezing. Next thing you know, I got a pipe break inside a wall that had to get dealt with. And that wound up being a minor fix, and I didn't have any damage, but that's just how quickly it can happen. And the thing that saved me, and it's just a lesson, and way back in those days, we talked about it on the show as well, is having that tool ready and knowing how to get to your shutoff just in case of an emergency. Because I really do think we're entering into that zone when you just look at the overall temperature. So now let's talk about that bigger system. We'll spend a little time on this, and we'll get to the phone calls too, 545-9950 if you want to hop on the show. We'll talk about whatever. I think outside of the Minnesota story, which isn't generating these massive sort of hysteria headlines today, you get a sense that things are starting to somewhat de-escalate. The Yahoos still haven't given up, but they haven't driven any major headlines today. But back to the weather. There is a system that the weather forecasters are watching with every subsequent computer model, and it looks like right now there could be a massive snow event for the Carolinas. Now, we would be far to the west of that, and here in the state of Alabama, we're on the backside of it. You do see a little blue on the map in our neck of the woods, but that's right now just a 5% chance that we could see some snow from it. What's happening is this weekend when we get down in the teens, by the way, the wind chills, and we haven't really talked about that much this hour, the wind chills are going to be in the single digits around Alabama this weekend, maybe even below or at zero in parts of Alabama. So it's just going to be brutal and miserable and dangerously cold to be outside for any long periods of time. So just, plan accordingly. Any kind of weekend activities you have are just going to be tough to deal with. So all that's coming in, that cold shot's coming in, and that's a certainty. Like we said earlier, the temperature maps are much more of a certainty. What we don't know is where this moisture is going to come from. So there's this little ball that almost looks like a little tropical system coming out of the Gulf toward the Big Bend of Florida, and it's going to meet this cold air somewhere over Georgia or the Carolinas, and what could be just record-breaking snow in that area if these models are even close. Even a lot of the Big Bend and that part of Florida could see some snow showers. But again, as of Tuesday today, we're not anywhere close to it. It's not a major threat for us, and anything that does happen should be on the south and east of Birmingham. We've sort of dodged both of these things by being in the middle of both of them. One hit to our north and west. The other looks like it's going to be south and east. And I guess thank goodness for that. Thank the Lord that we got spared, I suppose. But still, prayers up for folks that are stuck in the cold and trapped. I've heard some really tough stories. People that did some things right. They were prepared, but just didn't anticipate, especially over northern Mississippi, how absolutely brutal and fierce the ice storms can be. And some folks are just having to help each other and help neighbors until they get the power back on. And once again, salute to all those crews helping our neighboring states. A lot of those crews are from Alabama. We have these mutual support agreements between states and utilities. And so while we got spared it, a lot of folks that live here and work here took off and went that direction to deal with those terrible conditions and get those people back into something that looks like civilization. The biggest ice storm I remember was probably, I want to say 1987. I'm basing that on where I lived at the time when I was still in college. And man, this thing just bent trees. And what was fascinating to me was when it was over, even though the weight of the ice had melted off the trees, a lot of these trees just stayed leaning and bent over and damaged for a long time. It took a while for the some of the limbs to finally break off and some of the cleanup to happen in those trees to sort of stand back up. It changes the way whole neighborhoods and the way landscapes look. So they're dealing with a lot all around us. But again, so far so good. We'll keep you up on top of it as we move through the week in case that thing shifts around. But the good news, of course, just to repeat, is we're not in any kind of crosshairs from this thing. But for our buddies on the coast, though, whole different story if this thing moves up the East Coast like that. All right, here we go. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and I'll just change subjects when we come back, get into whatever other headlines today, and take more of your phone calls, 545-9950 if you want to jump on the show tonight. Come on. That's what we do. Michelson Laser Vision bringing you the show tonight. Y'all, many of you, if you've listened for any length of time, have heard my backstory about Michelson. I'll try to tell you the short version of it. It was miraculous, and I was not in any way interested whatsoever in getting LASIK. I just went to meet a client who wanted to come on the show, and I'd known of and had met Dr. Michelson a few times over my career, and they wanted to come advertise. I said, well, let me come down and hang out and understand and check you out. It wasn't even a vetting process where I wanted to make sure they did a good operation, because the Michelson reputation preceded that meeting. I'd known about how good they were for years from my friends that had done it, but none of them could have talked me into doing LASIK until I went. And it was the visit where they said, well, why don't you go through the training that we put patients through to understand what the procedure is about, and that'd be the best explanation. So I remember I sat down and watched this little iPad. They had the whole video that showed it as animated so you could understand the procedure. And then it was like a light bulb went off. I went, well, that makes sense. I see why people would do this now. And then curiosity kicked in. Next thing you know, I've got the procedure scheduled. So it took education and it took the initial consult. And those two together, when Dr. Michelson knew I'd be a good candidate and I understood what I was getting into, to help me make a really good informed decision. So y'all do that too. It's michelsonlaservision.com, downtown UAB Highlands. So easy to get in and out of there, and they're so helpful and good with your time. They don't waste a lot of your time down there. It's michelsonlaservision.com. All right, let's get after it. Here we go. Leland Live, Talk 99.5. AJ, I just sent you some sound over, so take a look at that, and we'll get that on here in just a minute. Trying to get my doohickey to work here. There it goes. Switching cameras over here on the old YouTube channel. Y'all are welcome to watch this every day. If you find a dude just sitting in front of a microphone interesting, go ahead. There we are on realtalk995.com. Y'all check that out. Alabama Dental bringing you the show this hour. AlabamaDental.com. This is my dentist. Dr. Brian's my personal dentist over there. They've got 4 dentists, and that gives them a lot of things. It gives them the ability to stretch their hours out and give you some flexibility on your dental care. They've got 4 different specialists with those 4 guys. They planned it that way. So these guys can stretch their hours out. So you can get there in the evenings. You can get there on Saturdays. And they've got 4 different specialties to handle anything that you pretty much bring through the door within one roof, plus all the technology for other things too. Now, I always think about cleanings and x-rays and just annual checkups, but some people have chronic problems and things you need to have addressed, even issues with teeth grinding and snoring and things like that. They've got solutions for you for those things. So talk to them and get that appointment and get over there. We're all trying to do a little better in 26, and health screenings are part of that. It's not just eating a little less and doing some push-ups and walking a little bit. You need to make sure you're in good health all the time and do these things, do these proactive things. Somebody in your life wants you to live a long time, and teeth are part of that. There are all kinds of studies that relate dental health to overall health. So keep up with it at alabamadental.com. Great locations right here in Birmingham, easy to get to. alabamadental.com. All right, we got things in the news. Let me get off the weather for a minute. It is so dominated. This and the other big story is, of course, all this craziness with Minnesota. The only thing that really happened that was headline oriented today out in Minneapolis was a group of protesters came into the State House. Now, if they're in the State House, ICE is not in the State House. What are they protesting? Now they're coming after Tim Walz for calling the president and apparently attempting to work with the president over de-escalation of all that is going on, which proves their motive is to escalate. Their motive is to create the conflict, and anybody that would be a problem solver, they're going to come after them. So here's Walz now, his own base, and these yahoos are protesting him in the State House, and at the same time, he's got to deal with the Trump administration and the shifting assignments on the ground there. So we'll let you know if there are any other headlines. Outside of that, there wasn't any big violent or any incendiary incidents that happened today as well, but we're keeping an eye on it like we do. Now, we've got this situation over here with Trump. Trump was in Iowa today. He is doing just really a campaign style stop in Iowa, and apparently there was some kind of hooligans that got in there, and Trump's seen this so many times, that tried to disrupt the service. AJ, you got that sound ready? I hadn't even listened to the whole thing. We'll just listen to it together. This is from Iowa. Just a little while ago, we carried the beginning of that speech, and then we got this. Take a listen.
I probably have this little piece of ear back, Could have it, and I wouldn't have to listen to lunatics like this up there. I wouldn't have to listen. Isn't that nice? Thank you. Boy, they're good here. Do we love our law enforcement? They work very quickly. But under sleep presidency.
So, I mean, that we all listened to that together for the first time. So it sounded like typical, some pink hairs or some old homely liberal hags get in there, start yelling. And then so the crowd now instinctively knows what to do because it's happened so much. It's like a broken record. So they start the USA chant to drown them out. And it sounded like the cops got them out of there pretty quickly. I guess they're everywhere. These people, what are they going to do? Have y'all thought about this? What are the people that have been driven to the edge by the very sight of Trump for the last 10 years? This guy has been on the scene as a candidate and or politician since late 2015 or so. So what are those people going to do when he's gone? What will be their cause? Who will they turn their derision toward? Clearly, whatever is the next Republican in line. But the mania can't be as intense if it's JD or Rubio or one of them as the Republican standard bearer by then, but they have directed so much useless energy toward opposing everything that could be opposed. Remember when just a few months ago, their big issue, remember the big issue a few months ago, they were opposed to a ballroom. I mean, anything. They're opposed to trade deals. They're opposed to healthier food. They're opposed to lower drug cost. They're opposed to tariffs because it's helping the economy. They're opposed to everything, but even the concept that they would get private donors to pool millions of dollars to improve the White House for not only this president. I'm not even sure it'll be done by the end of his presidency, but it might. But future presidents, as other presidents have done, presidents have always put their signature on the White House. Different presidents, I think it was Nixon put the bowling alley in. One president put a movie theater in. Michelle Obama had her garden. Obama himself had a basketball goal. That basketball goal didn't serve anybody but him and some staffers. And I'm not even sure it's still there. But everybody just let them do it because we've always known presidents kind of can do that. There's a right now before a federal court, a judge trying to challenge Trump's authority to make these kind of decisions in the White House. And it's really exclusive to the executive. It is. It's history. It's tradition. It's just the law. But these guys oppose everything. So now he goes to Iowa to a rah-rah speech. It doesn't mean anything. And you get these folks that pipe up. Somebody sent me a picture of, I guess it was an anti-ICE protest down in Dothan. And I can't remember who sent it. It just came through social media. They said massive crowd down in Dothan. Here's the crowd. There was one dude sitting in a chair, or it might have been a woman. I don't know. So they didn't even have the energy to stand, and 4 dudes standing there. It was literally 5 people, and one didn't even have the enthusiasm to actually stand up. Or maybe they had gout. I don't know. It is what it is. It's amusing more than anything. We'll take, and look, y'all, that's First Amendment. Go hold your sign up, sit in a chair, stand. I don't care. That's First Amendment. Bringing a gun, though, and trying to fight with the law enforcement, probably not the best idea, as we have seen very recently. Back in a minute, bottom of the hour, Lead on Live, Talk 99.5. Y'all hang on. All right, y'all, 533, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Let's keep going. My man Thomas is over at Stockton Mortgage to get us updated on everything happening in the world of mortgages. Thomas, how's it looking out there these days? What's going on?
Man, as cold as it is outside, it is the mortgage and housing market's heating up, man, with the spring just right around the corner. Don't feel like it right now, but I know the spring is right around the corner because we are getting calls. Pre-approvals are going out, and, man, people are calling in about getting pre-approved to purchase new homes, and that is so exciting. Hey, it is great. It is great to be finally coming into the spring season. Super exciting. Love helping people buy new homes. And just wanted to tell you, we just got finished, was working on one as AJ just called me, a client out in Moody where we were pre-approving them buying their third new home. And we love to be part of that transaction. They are business owners and had a little bit of complicated tax returns. And man, I love digging in and helping people get qualified that, may have some complicated tax returns and where other people may not be able to get those transactions done. We can step in and get those things worked out where we can get them qualified for a new home purchase. So give us a call today. Let us sit down and get you guys ready to purchase that new home. We've got many programs available. If you may not have enough money saved, we've got 100% financing programs. We've got, I think last I counted, we have 7 new programs available for a 100% program, depending on what your situation is. So give us a call, 205-859-8859. Or savewithstockton.com.
Savewithstockton.com. We appreciate you, Thomas, man. That's a good word tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
There's Thomas. He checks in with us just about this time every single night. 545-9950 is the phone number. If y'all want to get into it, let's get into it. Whatever you got on your mind tonight as we get wrapped up on a Tuesday. What a cold Tuesday it has been, and no relief in sight. I went through all that weather stuff at the top of the hour. It's going to be in our bones for the next 2 weeks. Here we go. All right, Trump today, in addition to, we had the little protest segment. We're just giving you snippets from this rally that he had in Iowa. Apparently, he's still having these moments, and whatever he brings up and decides to bring up is always fascinating. But he's apparently decided to take up Emmanuel Macron. Now, just to give you the backstory, because we're doing this cold because these clips are coming in. Macron weirdly was wearing sunglasses when they all met in Davos, when these elite leaders get together in Davos, Switzerland, to try to plan your life. And the people in Davos just kind of pretended it wasn't happening. Everybody was just kind of whispering about, like, why the hell has he got sunglasses on indoors when he gave his speech? Now, he didn't give an explanation, and then they said he had an eye condition and he had to wear sunglasses. And then others speculated the old lady was whooping him again. Because y'all remember when she smacked him in the face and jerked a knot in him on a plane one day. So who knows? But apparently Trump decided to bring that up in front of this red meat crowd in Iowa. Here's what it sounded like.
Well, why wouldn't I get them? And I called Macron of France. I said, you got to double the price of your drugs. He said, no, I will not do that. What was the story with his glasses the other day? What the hell was that all about? But anyway, I got them all. I don't want to go into a long story. Bottom line, I said, I'm going to increase tariffs by 25. I'm going to charge you 25% tariff if you don't do it. They said, we will do it. Why don't you ask? We'd love to do it.
What? Trump's the only world leader that would just do that. He did that there. He did that at Davos. I mean, he did that at Davos. So there's that. And AJ, I'm going to send you one more. We'll just do a little quick speech review. I'm going to shoot that over and hit send right now. Here's another one. Apparently this is about the situation, particularly with the Somalians and the deportation of these people. By the way, back in the news, and this was discovered last night, you just can't make this up. This Ilhan Omar, her husband's businesses that went from having no money to millions almost overnight in 2 subsequent reports. Turns out the winery doesn't exist. The most basic research being done by some of these people in their PJs doing media. And I think this was actually Benny Johnson on X, went out and just checked it out to see where is it, does it exist? And they kept finding evidence that they've never produced a bottle of wine. Now, maybe Ilhan Omar will come up with Ilhan's headdress wine, and we'll see an actual bottle of it. But based on the evidence at hand, it doesn't exist. And it went from $5,000 to $5 million in assets overnight in 2-3 different federal reports. Now, her defense, so far I've tried to listen to her defend herself, and she's increasingly getting caustic because she's in trouble. But her defense is suddenly, it's suddenly along the lines that we've been very transparent. We filled out all the forms. So it's, I mean, I guess what she's saying is if you get ill-gotten money that otherwise you'd never make, but your position in Congress gets you the hookup, as long as you report it, it's legal. Sadly, having been in that world, some of that's true. You can get your spouse hooked up with a sweet gig and they can pretend to do the work, whatever that work is. And as long as you report it and it's on your taxes, somebody'd have to do some great work to find money laundering. But when your business doesn't exist and yet it has suddenly assets, there's something to that. Maybe investigators will get to the bottom of it, but we'll keep watching the folks that have the temerity to keep asking the questions. Real quick, here's the bite from Trump. I think we've heard him talk about this before, about the percentages of population and all the corruption that's being found, particularly in Minneapolis right now.
Remember, about 2% of the population, it's a very simple business. 2% of the population causes 90% of the crime. So when you start decimating that 2%, boom, that's why we have the crime. It's an amazing number when you think. It's just crime over and over and over. 2% creates 90% of the crime. Isn't that amazing? Not that complicated, is it? In 1 year, we've achieved the largest drop in the murder rate in the history of our country. Drug overdose deaths are down by 21%, the largest drop ever recorded.
Okay, that Trump just going through his track record, and those sounded like maybe more general crime statistics. I'm not sure if it was specific to Minneapolis, but the percentages do bear up. Okay, let's hit the phones, and we'll go through them one at a time. Suddenly we got full bank. We'll get to all y'all. Here we go. Hippie on line 2. What's up, Hippie?
Hey, you was talking about the guy called in about the scales at Walmart.
Yeah.
Well, there was stories some time back about their scales being off, and there still is the Division of Weights and Measures.
Yeah.
Anybody that sells food by the pound, it has to be a certified scale.
Who does that? Is that a state function or is it the agriculture? I think it's the agriculture department, isn't it, here in the state?
Yeah. And it's the shortest dual axle truck you will ever see.
Oh, he rides around in a little truck?
No, it's a 2.5 ton truck, dual axle.
Yeah.
But it's extremely short because it's heavy.
And they take the devices into the truck and measure them or calibrate them or whatever?
Well, they have weights in the truck. That's why that truck is a dual axle truck.
That makes sense. I got you.
Any scale, like the ones where the scrapyard,
yeah,
all of them have to be certified.
Gotcha. I thought so. I just didn't understand the organization of it. Now I know it's our agricultural commissioner in the department that does. If you go to the gas pump, you'll see a little seal on the gas pump where they go and they measure the output of the gas pumps to make sure they're legit.
They have that graduated cylinder.
Yep.
That they pump gas into.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to get over to Walmart in Jasper then. I think that's where he was calling from.
Well, that's I frequent that one and the one I don't buy meat there. I don't buy meat at Walmart.
Yeah.
I haven't in years. Long time.
Well, all right, Hippie. Good stuff, man.
All right.
So yeah, there is a department that's supposed to be checking these things. Just one of our previous callers, if you just tuned in, said that he felt like he was getting shorted about a pound of ham off a mismeasurement at Walmart. Fascinating. And he went to the trouble, according to his call, to carry his own 1 pound weight in to see if the scales were correct. And then he weighed the ham. How about that? That's some investigative work right there. Crocker Moving Services bringing you the show tonight. Eric and his whole team ready to move. Whatever you got to move, sometimes you just got to move. And it's a whole house deal, and boy, it's a nightmare. They say moving your own furniture is on the stress level of having a death in the family. That's not an exaggeration, and I can believe it. So trust the pros to handle that for you. It takes a lot off your mind. Worth every dime to have pros handle this stuff and get it through difficult turns and upstairs and around corners and all that. If it's just a big, heavy thing that you just got one kind of project, they can scale their services down to a minimum of 2 hours. And I love that. I love the fact that they don't overcharge you and have to overestimate what they can do. They've always been right on the money with me. Every estimate they've given me from the small moves I've done over the years, bam, nailed it. Eric's a great guy. He hires great people. You'll get to know that when you hire them. It's CrockerMovingServices.com, CrockerMovingServices.com. All right, let's go to Larry over on line 1. He's got a call about ice. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Leland, always enjoy the show. Been just waiting through traffic, but I got a question and a comment. Question is in respect to what the gentleman that got killed in Minnesota. When someone like that goes into an investigative area like the ICE agents and he's got a gun and he's packing additional magazine, is that against the law?
Well, it depends on whether you're talking about state or federal law. And I know I can speak more to Alabama law. We've got 1,000-foot rule in Alabama when it comes to if there's a rebellion or a rally or a mass gathering, you can't walk up into one of those as a participant with a loaded weapon. There are exceptions to some of the Second Amendment issues. You can't walk in the White House. You can't go in certain government buildings. My understanding is in Minnesota, and by the way, Keith Ellison and this particular governor were all for these limitations on carry at rallies and protests. There were stories written about it back in the day, so they know full well that this guy wasn't he wasn't exercising his First Amendment and just happened upon the situation. He had been stalking ICE for days. He'd already had a violent encounter and broken a rib, and this time he came packing. So maybe you can read intent into that, but supposedly in Minnesota as well, according to state law, again, nobody's going to enforce it because they're lawless. But if you don't also have identification when you're carrying, then your carry is not legal, and they have concealed carry there. So you've got to have your permit and some form of ID to along with a weapon when you're going to be carrying. And apparently your right to carry is null if you don't do that. And so these people that are organizing these attacks on the federal troops have been telling their folks not to carry ID. It makes it harder during the booking and arrest phase, not to cooperate, to resist arrest, fight with the cops. Don't give them an ID. Let them drag you off. We'll have a lawyer down there, and they are just trained to do this. And he was acting according to his training. And so there are lots of measures you could say where his right to carry had been breached repeatedly, not to mention if you begin resisting arrest after being given lawful order in some states, you also have lost any right to continue, especially if you have a weapon on you that's not disclosed. Supreme Court ruled on this matter years ago. There's plenty of precedent. There's a reasonable belief that an officer could believe his life's in danger because you're resisting, and he was clearly resisting. So I don't know that we need to nitpick the case much more. It's a tragedy either way. This guy made a lot of foolish decisions in addition to probably decisions that weren't legal.
But I just wanted to make a comment in regards to something just hit me a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to do a little research. But everybody knows how crazy and how much money Mr. Soros spends.
Yeah.
So something hit me, and I wanted to look it up, and it was amazing to me because we're close to the same age. I'm a little bit older than you, Leland, but something hit me, and I did the research, and Blooming Industries or Blooming Restaurants is a major company, I think, out of the Panhandle of South Florida or whatever, in regards to them owning the Outback restaurants all over. I don't know how far and where they go, but if you can remember way back many, many years ago, their biggest advertisement for Outback, and you probably remember it, was "No rules, just right." And come to find out that Soros is involved with that. I was thinking,
oh, that's an ironic twist. No rules, just right.
Yeah, but I mean that was back in the '90s, maybe the early '90s. But
yeah.
I was thinking there's a way he's involved with something like that, and he absolutely is. But just wanted to throw that out there. Enjoy the show, ladies.
Did not know that. I haven't had a blooming onion in years. They closed the Outback near me. I guess the chain's still out there. I think they're owned by, I want to say they're owned by Darden Restaurants now. Almost sure of that, but not sure at the same time. Here, let's go to, we'll get Steve the Trucker in here next. What's up, Steve the Trucker?
Hey, Leland. I'm in Potts Camp, Mississippi, and it's on 22 on the way out to Memphis.
Yeah.
These people are in a catastrophic mess. I mean,
Yeah.
It looks like a tornado hit some of these areas. The radio towers don't have any lights on, from my dispatch saying there's trucks that have been frozen in place for days. I haven't heard anybody talking about this, but these people are going to need some help. I mean, if they've been going for days without power, the radio antennas, like the big tall towers, don't have lights on, there's definitely a big problem, and maybe just the word hadn't got out, because I figured everybody's so hemmed up talking about the drama with the other ice and not this ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need some plows out here. I haven't seen any plows or salt trucks. I mean, the road is unattended because, from what I understand, the plow trucks were frozen in place from the rain. So, like, nobody can do anything, and they need somebody to come out here and help them. I just figured put the word out to people in Birmingham, if somebody can come out here with some plow trucks, people can bring some blankets and stuff, because there are probably people that we haven't heard of that are having major problems.
So how far across the Alabama line are you into Mississippi on 22?
It's not far from crossing into Tennessee before Memphis.
Okay. Just past Tupelo.
It's a pretty good ways away, but like I was saying, like, I haven't heard anybody talking about it, and that's why I figured I'd call you guys, because, I mean, I listen to you guys. I've called a couple times, and if nobody's put the word out, nobody's talking about it on the news, I think it needs to be addressed, because it looks like it'd be like the damage you see in a tornado.
Oh, yeah. But ice on top of it.
Something totally different. Yeah, so people are freezing and other problems that probably don't even know what's happening yet.
Well, Steve, look, man, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We've given it some, sort of surface treatment because we're watching the television coverage, and but if there are efforts that start up, in my experience in the past, you can just jump in your truck and go try to help, but you go to the wrong place. You don't know where you're going, and we don't want to waste people's energy. But when we hear about an operation and specifics,
80,000-pound rig, and I'm trying to get off, and my wheels are sliding. I had to.
Oh Lord, man, you need to be careful too. It's just bad. It's just bad.
Out of it.
Yep. All right, Steve.
Right now, there's traffic that's probably backed up 10 or 20 miles because something happened, and I haven't seen a rescue truck or anything come and help these people.
Yeah, they're frozen in place.
It's so bad that I think it's kind of at a standstill out here. And if anybody can, just be thinking about trying to get something to help these people, because, like I said, I haven't heard anybody talking about it, and it's definitely a problem.
Well, you
anyways,
certainly
love
did.
your show. I hope not just me sitting here on the side of the road now, but like, something helps this town and other areas around here. Because, I mean, there's like, I'm on top of a hill now, and I don't see any lights on any houses. I don't see any radio tower lights anywhere, just the traffic lights of vehicles. So I don't know how widespread this is, but like I said, when I was coming in, there were trees down everywhere. So I guess, in other words, if you're trying to travel, do not come out 22 West unless you got means to help.
All right,
anyway,
Steve.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for that update, because he's live out there in it. And Steve, if you're still listening to us, I think he was having trouble hearing me too, and I didn't want to interrupt. He was giving a good description. Keep us updated on your whereabouts and that you're okay tomorrow. Check in with us and let us know what else you saw. And what I was trying to say, and I didn't want to step on Steve, and I don't think, again, he could hear me. As soon as we start getting information of any demand or need up there that we could send that way, I know we got a lot of big-hearted people here where we weren't hit that way. I'm sure folks are very much willing to go help. Right now, it's and I heard this morning from some others, it's so dangerous and the roads are so impassable that you or me or anybody going into that are just going to complicate the situation. Unless, I guess, you're a county government and you got plows or trucks that can push the roads clear. And again, you're dealing with ice, so it's not like you're moving snow. It's a very different challenge to clear icy roads when you don't have traction yourself. So it's a quandary, and what they need more than anything is sunshine and temperatures above 32, and they're not going to get much of that this week. They're dealing with the same weather blast that we're going to be dealing with in just 3 days on top of all this that just hardens everything over again. And so you really do, your heart has to feel for them, especially the folks without power. But good call, Steve. I can tell he's got a big heart and just wanted to help. We'll give any volume. Our best effort is to put the word out and to give amplification to anybody that has an organizational message or a call for help or specific needs or supplies. We'll be happy to pass that on to our community. And I would imagine we'll be doing some of that in the next couple of days. All right, real quick, Gutter Cap of Birmingham, they are still running that 45% off deal. Let me explain. Especially with the ice, I saw some gutters pulled loose, and I thought, yep, that's how it happens. If you got weak gutters and something dams up the water and the water can't flow through, and then you get weather like this where it just freezes in place, that is a lot of weight on those gutters that can eventually pull them loose, especially if you've got rot. That all comes when your gutters aren't covered and they're not clean. They got to stay clean. They have a very important function on your home. So reach out to Gutter Cap. If you got leaf-filled gutters or stick-filled gutters and it's time, get this done and get it done and save 45% on their patented one-piece all-aluminum product that works. The other products are imitations, period. This is the product you want. It's called guttercapbirmingham.com, guttercapbirmingham.com. All right, so that last segment ran a little long because I wanted to give Steve time to tell his story. I really do. Y'all throw a prayer up for him. He is out there in the mix of that. Looks like he just came up on it over in Mississippi. One more time for our friend John Lanius and our friend Reggie over at Lanius Furniture Company. Y'all, what a tremendous shopping experience. And they're all kind of levels. Sometimes you're just filling up a whole house. You got a lot of stuff to put together, or you just need an odd lamp, or maybe an odd or end piece. And I've gone for all of these things, just that extra thing that you need to complete your home. Maybe you just need inspiration. Here is an acre of furniture under one roof where you can get just that. And some of the most helpful, friendly, laid back, but knowledgeable people in the furniture business. An acre of selection under one roof, fair pricing all year long. But every now and then we'll do specials, or they'll run some discounts on certain brands you're going to know, and the ability to custom order and get it exactly like you want it. Not all stores can offer that. And then, of course, their delivery is impeccable. They'll bring it all the way to your house. Within reason, they have taken truckloads down to the beach before from people in this audience as well. So y'all go and see them. If you're looking for something to do this weekend with all this inclement weather, you just need to be inside. This is an indoor activity. It's Lania's Furniture Company. They're off exit 280 off I-65, Lania'sFurnitureCompany.com. I want to get to Dan. I usually do get to Dan, but AJ, I think we're down to about 45 seconds, and that's not fair to Dan. So we'll say goodnight and make way for breaking bread, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Stay warm.
Goodbye, AJ.